We've come a long way together over the last year. Now we need everybody, we need you to get vaccinated and help put COVID behind us once and for all. It's time for everyone to say they've rolled up their sleeves and gotten their vaccinations. COVID vaccines are safe and effective. Everyone in the Benjamin family has now been vaccinated, even our youngest. Just like we've done, and just like so many others across the Midlands, it is important to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community. Once you've gotten fully vaccinated, you'll know you've done your part in helping everyone get safely back together again. Take a look, see how easy that was. Vaccinations are free and available from great community partners all across the Midlands. Getting our city and all of our communities back to normal is almost within reach. We're almost there. This is your shot, Columbia.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for testing and vaccination sites. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council presenting Wellness Wednesday every week on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Agape Counseling and Training Services. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, offering free rides to get your COVID vaccine. Don't miss your shot. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Financial Services, with over 20 years of experience. Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Honest, professional, reliable computer sales and service. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In it together, SC, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Javis Financial Services, Computers Unique, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Friday afternoon to you. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID. Listen, our Black Music Month celebration continues with a conversation with the mother of the holiday of Black Music Month. She'll tell us how her then husband, legendary producer Kenny Gamble of Gamble and Huff, convinced her into years of advocacy to help establish the observance of Black Music Month. And then we're going to talk with Juneteenth performer Gerald Alston for the Manhattans. He's going to join us. He's actually backstage getting connected now to discuss his musical journey, what he likes now, and his legacy continuing. That and more coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. Lawmakers and leaders paid tribute to the Emanuel 9 yesterday, who were slain 6 years ago yesterday in Charleston. Many local and national figures posted tributes to their social media, including DNC Chair Jimmy Harrison, daughter of slain civil rights leader Martin Luther King, Bernice King, and former Governor Nikki Haley. Also, Congressman Jim Clyburn said Congress continues to work to close the so-called Charleston loophole, which allowed the killer to purchase a gun after a 3-day waiting period, despite the fact that his incomplete background check should have prevented him from using the firearm. Plans are underway for an Emanuel 9 memorial on the grounds of the church, which will include a courtyard, benches, a fountain, cross, and a garden. And Palmetto AIDS Life Support is celebrating their 35th anniversary with a virtual gala. CEO Carmen Julius joins us to tell us all the details.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we are so excited. We're so excited that for 35 years, this community has supported us, has contributed to our efforts, and has taken advantage of the services that we've provided. And we are so excited to still be here and still be working for a healthier community.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about the services you do provide, Carmen. You know, I said in the intro that you're not only helping to educate, but helping to provide free services for people in our community dealing with HIV, AIDS, and STDs.
Absolutely. And understanding that everyone does not have insurance or doesn't have unlimited income to pay for health services, we try to provide as many services as we can at no cost to the consumer or at a very limited cost to the consumer. We can help people get insurance if they don't have insurance, assist people with medication copay payments, and we do whatever we can to use the resources at our disposal to help make sure that people get the health services that they need. We provide services including HIV and sexually transmitted disease testing, as well as testing for hepatitis and screening for TB. We do provide medical care on site now. We have a provider who sees clients in our office, and we're able to also do telehealth now. COVID has had us to increase our telehealth services. So along with our medical care, we have a pharmacy that we're able to work with folks so that they can get their prescriptions. They can be delivered through mail order, or they can pick them up at our office. We provide assistance with housing, short-term rent, mortgage, and utility assistance. We want to make sure that people understand that we can assist persons living with HIV with those services. We have a food pantry on site because, again, sometimes it's difficult to decide whether you need to pay rent or buy groceries. So we have a food pantry on site. We also have implemented our mental health and behavioral health counseling services. So we have a mental health provider, a licensed certified mental health provider, who can also see persons via telehealth. And so we're excited because we know COVID has taught us to be more effective and efficient with our services, but we also know COVID has made people a little bit more in need of some resources, and we want to be able to step in and assist with that.
Carmen, that is so amazing. I mean, you know, again, I think people think of just maybe the testing and maybe even the education, but the fact that you guys are providing the pantry, and also I love the mental health piece, because listen, the other thing that COVID has taught us is that mental health is a real thing that everybody can be affected by. And it could be just a little thing that takes you off the edge, you know, and you need to nip it in the bud early.
Absolutely. And we understand that many of our citizens are walking around with untreated mental health issues that is causing chaos and commotion in their lives. And we want to be able to address those things.
Yeah. Carmen Julius joins us. She's a CEO of Palmetto AIDS Life Support Services. They're celebrating their 35th anniversary. Now, you guys are having a virtual gala. Tell us about that.
Yes, we're having a virtual gala. We just wanted to share this celebration with as many people as we can in the community. Our journey of 35 years has not always been an easy one, but the community helped us through even the toughest of times. And so we want to share this joy that we have. We're looking forward to the best part of our journey, which is that which is to come. We are happy that we have renovated and expanded our facility.
That's amazing.
We're excited about how it looks, and we're excited about everyone who pitched in and helped us to get that done. We're still moving in, but certainly we are just happy to present a beautiful, new, comfortable environment to provide the services to our clients.
Well, during the gala, people can not only have an opportunity to get a sneak peek of the new expanded facilities, they can also check it out very soon on the website. And then the other thing, there's going to be entertainment during the gala, and not only a chance for people to win, you've got some $25 gift cards, but then you've got the online auction.
Yeah, there are a number of activities that we have in store. And again, that's part of our excitement. You'll be hearing from some people past and present that have been a great and important part of PAL's journey. You'll also get the opportunity to bid on some wonderful, wonderful gifts and items that have been donated to us that we really want to present and have you share and be excited about. And certainly we have some wonderful entertainment. The community of what's commonly known as drag queens or female entertainers has been so supportive of PALS throughout our entire history. We could not have this celebration without them. And so we're excited that you'll see some very familiar faces, maybe some faces that are not so familiar to you, but that we hope will become familiar. And so we're very excited about the gala, and we want everybody to come out and take part. Come on out and join in with us. We've got some trivia questions. You would have the opportunity to win a prize, and we want as many people to participate as possible.
Again, it is the Palmetto AIDS Life Support Services, their 35th anniversary virtual celebration, and it's a great time. And Carmen Julius with Palmetto AIDS Life Support, thank you so much for joining us, Carmen, not only, for all of the services you provide, But we look forward to checking out this virtual celebration, music, entertainment, also the online auction, and a chance for folks to win. It's going to be great. If people want more information about Palmetto AIDS Life Support Services, how can they contact you guys?
We have a website, www.palss.org. You can find us on Facebook at PALS, PALSS. Also, we are on Instagram, or you can give our office a call at 803-779-7257. Again, 803-779-7257.
Again, Carmen Julius with Palmetto AIDS Life Support Services. Don't forget to log on to the website. You can check out their brand new facility. You can also find out more about the 35th anniversary celebration. You can find out about that virtual auction. And if you need the services that they provide, you can find out about that too. Carmen, happy anniversary, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Trey.
Absolutely.
Palmetto AIDS Life Support Services is commemorating 35 years of dedicated service to the community and wants to celebrate with everyone who has been supportive or involved over the past 3 decades. PALS will host a virtual anniversary program Monday, June 21st, which will feature entertainment, surprise guest speakers, as well as a virtual open house tour of their expanded facilities. This virtual event will be hosted by multi-award-winning journalist Tre Tailor and will feature Honorary Chair Columbia Mayor Steve Benjamin. PALS has dedicated over 3 decades of health, education, and human services to persons and communities affected by HIV and AIDS. And with support from the community, PALS hopes to continue to change lives for many years to come.
Yeah, that's going to be a great time. You're watching Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. I'm Tre Tailor. Listen, we are streaming live on the Tailor Made production page on Facebook, on Instagram. We also have a presence on YouTube. So please go over there. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and follow. So not only you can watch Coping with COVID Wednesday through Friday right here on Facebook and on YouTube, but you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. And don't forget, we're also here every first Monday with comedian George Wallace. Fun Day Monday with comedian George Wallace. Every first Monday right here on Coping with COVID. Well, listen, it is Black Music Month, and we have been celebrating all month long with music, musicians, radio and record executives. And this week, with the passing of Juneteenth being made a federal holiday, there is even more to be thankful for. Coming up, part one of my conversation with Dyana Williams. She is the mother of Black Music Month, the woman who actually went to Congress to make the celebration of Black music a holiday. But first, Juneteenth Festival artist Gerald Alston joins us right now live on Coping with COVID. Gerald Alston, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm just fine. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much once again for joining us. We know you are going to be joining us for Juneteenth in Columbia, South Carolina. It is the 5th annual Juneteenth Freedom Festival. And tell us a little bit about what we can expect to hear from you tomorrow at the festival.
Well, we're going, first of all, I have to say this. We have a new CD titled The Manhattans featuring Gerald Alston, The Legacy Continues. And we will be debuting our new song, She's Coming Home. Also, we will be going back in time and doing some of the songs of the 70s and into the 80s. So we're just going to take our fans back and give them what we always give them, our best.
Well, we want to hear a little bit more about that new project, but first, let's listen to a little bit of what made you all the Manhattans. rising star, one of the big hits from the Manhattans. That's Gerald Alston. He's going to be here tomorrow at the Juneteenth Family Festival. Listen, you've had a long, illustrious career with the Manhattans. So you're really part of what makes Black Music Month special. How do you feel about being a part, really, of history?
You know, it's a wonderful feeling because, believe it or not, I started 50 years ago. And when I look back at the artists that I started with, you know, I look back at the Dells, Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, Brenda and the Tabulations, Jackie Wilson, you know, all of those artists, Kool and the Gang. That was one of my first tours. And I've had the opportunity to work with other artists from that era, the Temptations, Marvin Gaye, the Supremes. And these are the shoulders that I stand on because they were at the top of their career at that particular time. You know, far back as Sam Cooke, which is my total idol. He's my mentor. Yeah. And, but it's a wonderful feeling because I tried to carry that, that era with me into today's time, you know, because those are the shoulders that I stand on. We may do the music a little differently, but the same kind of songs and performances that our fans like. Our fans like to be able to touch you, to be able to feel you on stage, to be a part of your show, to be a part of your music. And that's what makes me feel so good about being a part of the Black music era.
Well, you started, like you said, when you were just a kid yourself, you were doing gospel music. And you talked a little bit about how you, idolized Sam Cooke, but one of your relatives sang with the Five Blind Boys and your dad was a gospel musician. Tell us about that, growing up in a musical background. Oh, yeah.
Well, my father, it was a pastor, and he sang with his uncles and his brothers and cousins. They had a group called the Gospel Brothers. My mother also sang in a group with my father's sisters, and her sisters had a gospel group.
Wow.
And then the late Johnny Fields is my uncle. He was one of the founding members of the Five Blind Boys of Alabama. So I was constantly around singing, constantly around gospel groups. And in fact, the same month that I signed, which I was underage, so my mother and father had to sign my contract. They had signed my contract when my uncle had submitted me to be the lead singer for the Soul Stirrers.
Oh, wow.
And it was like 24 hours difference that the job came through for the Soul Stirrers, and they had already signed my contract with Manhattan. So here I am.
What do you think about that? I mean, because you went from gospel, you grew up in gospel, and by chance, from what I remember, you just so happened to meet the Manhattans. They loved your sound, wanted to sign you. So how was that transition? Were your parents cool with that?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And see, my father he was the greatest. He told me, he said, son, God has given you a voice to sing.
Yeah.
And your voice is when you use your voice, you go out to satisfy your fans, to please them, to bring joy to them, put a smile on their face, help them reminisce, bring them through times of hard times or problems in their lives. And that's what it is. And he said, it doesn't matter whether it's gospel or whether it's R&B. If you're singing songs of truth and honesty and with respect, you're doing his will. And I've always carried that with me.
Yeah, we're talking to Gerald Alston. He is a lead singer with the Manhattans. He's going to be in town tomorrow along with T.P. Hearns, Chubb Rock, Nellie Tiger Travis. And we talked to them last week at the Juneteenth Family Festival. Hey, don't forget that we have got resources, information scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you need financial information, find out where to get testing and vaccines, all of your COVID resources will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So please make sure not only to check that out, but to share it if you need it. Speaking of sharing, post and share this information out so we can get this interview to the masses. Gerald Alston, we are talking to him, and he's going to be in town tomorrow with the legendary Manhattans. So what are any favorite memories you have from touring extensively with the Manhattans? 17 years, I think.
Wow. Yes. Let me see. There were quite a few. Quite a few. One of the most exciting things during my tour was we toured with Marvin Gaye. We did Marvin Gaye's last tour.
Oh my goodness.
And Marvin Gaye, the guys knew Marvin. I didn't know Marvin. That was my first time meeting him. And they all said that he was a great guy and that he would only, if he would speak the truth to you, much like the Dells used to do to me. But we performed together in Rochester. And this is a quick little story. Yeah. And this lady walked to me in the airport and asked me for my autograph. And Marvin was down about 3 or 4 gates from me. She said, "Is that Marvin Gaye?" I said, "Sure." And she said, "Do you think he'd give me an autograph?" So I said, "Sure." And so that was like, we walked down to Marvin. And when I got ready, I introduced myself. I said, "Marvin, I'm Gerald." He said, "I know who you are." He said, "You're one of the baddest singers I know." My head was this big. Now that was the only
thing they told you.
I got.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll always remember that because Marvin Gaye, above all the artists, is one of the great artists of all times. And we performed with him. And even though he was going through a rough time, when he walked on that stage, he was true form Marvin Gaye. Every night he brought the house down. Wow. And unbelievable. And for him to say something like that to me, it just blew me out of the water. Yeah. It blew me out of the water. Yeah. You know, and I take that compliment with me.
Yeah, that's an amazing memory. What about advice? You know, you said that Marvin kind of was straight, no chaser. What was the best advice you ever got coming up in the business?
The best advice that I got coming up in the business, other than the Manhattans themselves, was from the Dells. They were truly, truly good friends. They were best friends you could have in industry, because if being close to them, they would. I remember performing with them many times, and I used to go down to their dressing room and talk to them. And I would go down to the dressing room, and Johnny or Marvin or Chuck or Vernon or Mickey would tell you straight up if you did something that didn't look right on stage. Wow. If you had a bad night, they would ask, "Well, what happened? You know, why were you not at your best tonight?" Or if they saw a way that they could give you some helpful criticisms to bring you out more, they did it. And I respect that. I truly respect that. And the Dells are one group or artist that we perform with that would not bite their tongue. If you were friends with them and they cared about you, they will give it to you straight up. Wow. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of times you have your peers, "Oh man, you sound great tonight. You did a great job." And you know when you're all right, that was not your best night. Right. and they will tell you, you, and they always instill in me, along with the guys, no matter how you feel, give your best. Try not to let it show on stage, because those are your fans. They paid to see you. They are most important. And what I took from that was that I'm not doing my fans a favor for singing for them, performing for them. Right. They're doing me a favor to come and see me.
By listening, that's right.
Yeah, so that's why I take that advice to heart. My father, the Dells, my Uncle Johnny, and the Manhattans gave me the best advice in the world. And that was to stay humble and remember that you are out there serving your audience.
Wow. Wow. We're talking to Gerald Alston, lead singer with the Manhattans. He is going to be here tomorrow at the Juneteenth Family Festival in Columbia, South Carolina. Come on down and have a great day. It's going to be an entire day of family fun and, of course, great music. So, Gerald, coming up, I want to ask you what are some of your favorite Manhattan songs to sing? But first, let's listen to this.
This is something I hate to do. We've been meeting here so long. say goodbye.
Oh, wow.
And say goodbye. Many nights have passed. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
miss
God.
you.
I'm gonna miss you. I can't lie. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I remember that like yesterday.
Really?
That particular show, we were at the
Wow.
amphitheater in Los Angeles, California, and it was jam packed.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my God. Oh, you brought back wonderful memories with that.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So
Yes.
what are your favorite songs to sing of the Manhattan? Do you have a favorite Manhattan song?
I have a tendency, well, I tend to like all of them, but
Right.
I would say that my best was our very first release on Columbia Records was There's No Me Without You.
There's no me without you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And reason being is because it's a beautiful love song, but it also speaks to journalists, to DJs, to
Yeah.
record
Yeah.
companies,
I love
to our
that analogy.
fans, because we wouldn't exist without you. We
Right.
wouldn't exist without radio. We
Right.
wouldn't exist without our fans.
Yeah.
When DJs will go on the radio at drive time or afternoon drive and say, "This record right here is a hit. You got to pick it up." All their fans will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And also the people that's behind everything, the stage crew that comes in early in the morning and starts setting up your equipment, setting the stages and the light.
Yeah.
They're there from sun up to sundown,
Yep.
And so I always use that analogy to thank all of you, our fans, publicity, radio, journalists, record companies, everybody. There's no me without you.
It
We
takes
could not
everybody.
survive.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you and the work and the efforts that you put into it to help make us who we are.
Well, you know what? You say that, and that's what Black Music Month is about. It's about everyone who contributed to making Black music the cultural experience
Yes,
that it
yes,
is. It takes
yes.
everybody to do that,
It does.
Yeah,
It
we're
does.
talking to Gerald Alston, lead singer of the Manhattans. He's going to be in town tomorrow for the Juneteenth Family Festival. Who are you listening to now? Who do you like?
It's different artists. I fell in love at the Super Bowl game. I always liked Jasmine Sutherland,
Yeah,
but I fell in love with her. She blew
yeah, she's an
me
amazing vocalist.
out of the water. Oh my
Yeah,
God. And I've always liked John Legend, and his performance at the inauguration was like killer.
yeah, yeah,
For one time, I really saw him. And I always know he had the ability to be him, but he was John Legend raw. I
yeah.
mean, he was awesome, And, I listen to different other music, but those are the artists that touch me because they come from here, from within.
Right.
And when you come from within, you're doing it right.
Gerald Alston joins us. He's the lead singer of the Manhattans. You say you have a new album out, a new record out. I wish you could have sent it to me because we would have loved to play it. Tell me about that process, getting the reestablishing the Manhattans and releasing a new CD. That's exciting.
Well, it all came about right after just when the late Blue Lovett was ill, and I promised him that I would continue the legacy, and that was his thing. In fact, that was his words to me. He said, "I'm passing the baton, and I want you to keep the legacy alive."
Yeah.
And instantly, I said, "That's the name of will be the name of our next CD." And what I wanted to do was with the productions of today, I still wanted to bring true music, songs that's about life, about people that they can experience or they may have experienced. And this is what that CD is all about. And we went back and we did a couple of things live on it. We got a live version of Kiss and Say Goodbye and Shining Star.
Yeah.
And we did, we got 4 or 5 new things. I did a remake of Anything Goes by Randy Houser,
Oh,
which is
wow.
yes, and he sings the socks off it. So I had to really come to work that day.
Yeah.
But we got a rendition of that, Right by My Side, a song that I did with George Duke and Stanley Clark. And we got, and plus our new single, She's Coming Home, that was written and produced by Curtis Dukes, which basically produced the whole album. And on that album, our musicians are playing
Oh,
East Coast Connection. So we keeping it in the family, and we moving forward, And we also had a single out before then was titled Get It Ready, which we'll be performing out also. So we're going to keep it going.
yeah. You talk about a family affair. I know that your son also sings. When did you find out he could sing?
Oh my God. Well, I actually have two sons that sing, but
Okay.
my youngest son, when he was younger, I used to say, I don't know. And then he started working and he started taking music, and he started playing the drums, and he surprised me at his graduation, and he got together with some of his classmates, and they sang Shining Star at this performance.
What?
Blew me away. And then he's been working on it. He's recorded a few things, and he's opened for us at the Harris. He's opened for us in Atlantic City. He's opened for us in Boston at the Jazz Supper Club there. And he's also opened for us down in Tunica, Mississippi at the Fitz.
Wow.
He's opened up for us, and he's gotten great response. Also, he may be opening for us again in October down in Virginia.
That is great. Well, family affair and going back to your roots, I know that there is, the spirituality is still with you. And on some shows, I understand you open or close with some gospel music. Let's listen to this. Now that was it's your son singing, right?
Right. That's my middle son, Todd. Yeah. And the other gentleman was
That's your
my Uncle
cousin,
Johnny's. Yeah, my cousin, Uncle Johnny's oldest son.
right?
And that's who I started singing with from a kid. We started singing together.
Wow.
He and I sang together, and we went separate ways. We made the complete circle again in life, and he ended up singing with the Manhattans before he passed in 2016.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Gerald Alston, lead singer with the Manhattans. He is going to be with us in Columbia, South Carolina tomorrow at the Juneteenth Family Festival. We look forward to seeing you, Gerald. It's going to be a great day. It's from 1 until 8. Chubb Rock, Nellie Tiger Travis, T.P. Hearns, and of course, the Manhattans. Their new music that you've known and loved and enjoyed and danced to and made babies to.
Oh, yes.
All kind of things. So don't forget to check it out. It's an absolutely free affair, and it's going to be great. Now, people can purchase your new CD online. Is it in stores? Is it? Will you have some available tomorrow?
I have a few with me tomorrow.
Okay.
Also, you can purchase the physical CD on our website, Let's Just Kiss and Say Goodbye.com, or you can go to CD Baby and order the physical copy. If you go to our website and you want it autographed, just make a note and you get it autographed. Also, is on all the digital platforms. You can pick it up on all the digital platforms.
All right. So make sure you get that new CD from Gerald Alston and the Manhattans. And don't forget to check them out tomorrow at the Juneteenth Family Festival. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us today. You have been such a pleasure. I appreciate you so much. And I hope to see you tomorrow. And
yes.
Good luck and God bless you. And listen, we were talking earlier about where my aunt lives. Warrenton. She lives in Warrenton.
Oh, wow. And that's where all my relatives are from.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah, she
Yes.
moved here from New York. So it's a little closer for her, but yeah.
Yep, that's right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, she's right there in Warrenton.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Gerald Alston, thank you again so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. We'll see you tomorrow at the Juneteenth Family Festival.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming up next, the reason why there is even a Black Music Month is because the woman we're talking to next made it happen with her then husband and super writer producer Kenny Gamble. He asked her to. Part 1 of my conversation with Dyana Williams is coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor.
Columbia and surrounding, get ready.
This is how we do it.
Saturday, June 19th, the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest presents the 5th annual Juneteenth Freedom Festival with national recording artist, the legendary Manhattans, featuring Gerald Alston.
Honey, you are my shining star.
Also performing Nelly, Tiger, Travis. Then the old school block party with special guest hip-hop legend, Chubb Rock.
1990, Chubb Rock jumps upon the scene with the lean and a pocket full of green.
Hosted by BET Comic View Funny Man, T.T. Hearn. It's a family-friendly event and it's free admission. Saturday.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Hey, we're streaming live on the Tailor Made Production Facebook page. Would you please go over there and hit like, share, and follow? Not only can you get updates on when you can watch Coping with COVID, but you can also get all of your COVID-related updates. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. And we have a presence also on YouTube and on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping with COVID. Thank you again so much for watching. You know, we are celebrating Black Music Month. We started our observance last week, and we gave you a little snippet of the woman, the icon that has been deemed the mother of Black Music Month. We heard a little bit from her last week, and I promised you we're going to talk to her in more depth today. Dyana Williams is a radio and music industry icon working over 4 decades. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the industry. Among her many accolades, she was the first African-American Latina woman rock DJ at WRQK in New York City and has done voiceover work for a little bit of everyone, everywhere, including the Unsung series on TV1. And again, that's just a few of her numerous accolades. In the 90s, she launched the Association of African-American Music Foundation to promote and preserve Black music, and co-wrote House Concurrent Bill 509 to establish June as Black Music Month. She's a journalist, community activist, documentarian, and artist development and media coach through her company, Influence Entertainment. She is a personal mentor of mine and has always been so gracious, so beautiful, so helpful to me personally and professionally. And I cannot tell you how much of an honor it is to interview and talk to Dyana Williams. Thank you,
Dyana, you've forgotten how to say my name.
I know. Look, I'm making you Diana Ross, girl. Dyana.
I love the comparison.
I know. Dee, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so honored and so grateful for you to join us today on Coping. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Trace. Great to be here with you.
So listen, in the intro, I said that you had an iconic 4 decades in the music industry. So tell me, what was your first influence of music?
My first influence of music was listening to the radio when I was a little girl in the Bronx. My father was a music lover, so he was always blasting the radio. We listened to ABC, and we listened to WWRL, which was the Black AM station. I grew up in the Bronx and Harlem in Puerto Rico as a young lady. And so my daddy, my father's love for music, he instilled it in me. And to this day, it exists. It is still very present.
Wow. So did you always know, loving music, that you would do something in the music industry?
Not really, because at one point when I was a teenager, I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Oh, wow.
How about that? My mother enrolled me in a class at the museum, and I took classes and studied Will and Ariel Durant. And I really thought for a myriad, I love antiquities and her story and history. And so I've always been fascinated about what has transpired prior. So that was there for a minute. And then when I was about 15, 16, I wanted to be a jazz musician. So there was the beginning. I studied flute with the great jazz musician, Jimmy Heath at IS 201.
Really? Oh, wow.
Program. So I wanted to be a musician. So by the time I graduated from high school, Washington Irving, and went to City College in Harlem, where I grew up as a teenager, I went in as a music major because I really thought I was going to be a jazz flautist.
Yeah.
When I took a jazz improvisation class, I quickly learned that I was talentless. I didn't improvise, and you cannot be a jazz musician without the capacity to improvise. And so I was like, I found my flute recently. I played in one, just like C, everything in C. So that went away. But then someone had invited me to the radio station. We had a carrier current radio station that could be heard on the vicinity of the college campus. But as I mentioned, my radio station was in the heart of Harlem.
Yeah.
So it was New York radio. Started in New York radio while it was still my college radio station. It was still radio. And so I took a class, learned the rudiments, the basics, how to run the board, all of that. Got my own show.
Yeah.
And after that, I took over the radio station. I became the music director.
Wow.
I started using the student funds to bring and book artists to come to perform. So I booked everybody from American Arts to Hubert Laws, all manner of people were getting gigs because I was using the college money. You pay a student fund, whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning of my entry. And at that point, I was 18.
Wow, Dee. Wow. Well, you know what? It's interesting because you are an archaeologist. You are an archaeologist of music.
Hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, you are still using your archaeological.
I'm digging
right.
The history and her story. Yes.
Yeah.
Manner of speaking. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting. So from there, and the other thing is, at 18, you had the talent, the knowledge, even the innovative spirit enough to utilize that college experience to get national artists. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that takes a lot of chutzpah, you know?
Chutzpah would be part of what I possess in my character. So yeah, and from there, I was able to, my mentor was a gentleman named Van J. McDuffie. He was on the radio overnights at WRVR, which was the straight ahead jazz station. And I would be studying and doing my schoolwork. And I called him one night and I said, I listened to your show. I like what you do. I am going to be on the radio someday beyond the carrier current station.
Wow.
And I'd like to come and observe what you do. And he said, all right. And I said, but let me just explain something. I am not a go get a cup of coffee and run errands.
Right.
And I'm coming there to learn, to watch. I'm not coming there to do those things. So he did my first audition tape that got me my first paid job in radio at 96.3 WHUR in 1973.
Wow.
I was hired on the eve of my 19th birthday by a gentleman named Bob Nighthawk Terry, who, if you saw the movie Talk to Me, in the movie, a very infamous radio personality, but he was my boss and he gave me my first job. I was making $6,000 and I was overjoyed.
I know that's right.
Yeah, I moved to DC, didn't know anybody, lived in a small room at the YWCA. I could reach out and touch both walls. The room was so small, but I didn't care.
Right, you were doing what you love.
I was doing what I loved and I was getting a check for it. And at the point where I moved to DC, it was Chocolate City.
Yeah.
It was Chocolate City. So I had a Black bank, a Black dentist, a Black gynecologist.
Wow.
Everything was Black, my dry cleaners. And I love that. Coming from Harlem, which of course, as you know, another Black stronghold.
Exactly.
Center of the universe for Black folks, for many. It was for me. And from there, I didn't stop. So literally, when you said 40 years, I was sitting here saying 4 decades. No, it's been 5.
Wow.
It's been 5 decades because I started when I was in college.
Yeah.
17,
as a teenager.
But first professional gig at 19.
Wow, Dyana Williams joins us. We are celebrating Black Music Month, and she is the mother of Black music because she and through a lot of other people helped, but you know, it was you who really pushed and went to the White House to say this needs to happen. We need the observance of Black Music Month. And so let's fast forward. I mean, you have had such an illustrious career, Dee. I mean, you know, like you said, starting there and in DC and before that in New York. And I mean, you've worked because you worked your way through radio in some of the most prominent markets, New York, Philly,
and DC.
And DC, yeah.
And DC, no, absolutely. And Frankie Crocker, the Dean of Black Radio, he hired me from WHUR, literally called me on the hotline.
Wow.
He called me, he offered me a job in St. Louis. I was doing middays at this point. When I first started at WHUR, I did 8 to 11. I did evenings.
Nice, yeah.
And then he asked, then I was moved up to middays. The show was so popular, I started doing middays. And then Frankie Crocker called me and I was blown away. I picked up the hotline. It was Frankie Crocker, legendary radio person. No, the Chief Rocker, Frankie Crocker. And he offered me a job in St. Louis. Now, I was 20 when he offered me this job.
Girl.
And my mother said, okay, we're going to go to St. Louis and scope it out. And when we got to St. Louis, my mother said, in all due respect to your listeners and viewers, I love St. Louis. One of my dearest girlfriends is from the Lou. However, I came from New York and I came from a very cultured experience in New York, theater, plays, museums. And not to say that St. Louis doesn't have that, but when my mother and I went there, my mother was like, I think this town's a little too small and slow for you. So I went back to Mr. Crocker and I said, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for offering me the job. However, I must pass. Then he calls me again on the hotline and offers me a job in Chicago. Now, Chicago, much like New York.
Oh, yeah.
More my speed, right, in terms of the lifestyle that I was accustomed to growing up. And I said, yeah, I'm interested in Chicago. didn't make the trip because the owners called me and said, Mr. Crocker has offered you more money than we can afford. And so then I said to him, well, okay, I won't be going to Chicago.
Yeah.
You heard of those winters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then he calls me again. This time, it was WBLS, and I couldn't turn it down. It's number one market for communications broadcasting in the world. I said,
yes.
And I was turning 21. I was getting ready to turn 21. So I got to go back home. I had dropped out of college, by the way, and a lot of the people that I had gone to school with were starting to graduate, and they wanted the job that I got.
Yeah.
I was a college dropout. So they were like, how did you secure this job? I was like, I went straight to working.
Yeah.
I told my mother, who, by the way, was a college professor, I said, Mama, I'll go back at some point. You know, college isn't going away.
Yeah, it'll be here.
Yeah, I have the job and the dream job that I've always wanted. My parents were able to hear me on the radio 6 days a week. People I grew up with, my family, people I went to college with. It was super heady. And on the way to New York, when I was getting ready to go work at BLS, I fell in love. And so me getting the job happened to coincide with me meeting the man who would become the father of our 3 children,
right.
My grandson now, who is 6.5. And I'm referring to Kenny Gamble, one of the architects of the Sound of Philadelphia.
One of the architects of TSOP.
Yeah. And my co-founder in June Black Music Month. Gamble conceived of the idea of Black music. We were a couple. So we were a couple that worked together. We had a
right.
So that was the beginning of my involvement with June Black Music Month.
Well, I want to ask about that, but before that, can we talk a little bit about the romance? How did you meet?
Ooh, yes, girl.
Can we talk about that?
I actually met him when I was 20, maybe 19. I think I was 19, about to turn 20.
Yeah.
I had just come back from visiting my family in Puerto Rico. I was tanned. I was like 5'6". I was all kind of, glistening. I was glowing. I was emceeing the OJ show at the Carter Barron. They had like a multiple day engagement,
right.
from radio. I was emceeing the show, and it was a big show. The OJs were the hottest act at the time.
Yeah.
And I was asked to present gold records to Gamble Huff and members of Philadelphia International Records for, I want to say the album was Survival. Can't remember the album, but I certainly remembered him. And when I did present the records, the gold records, we hadn't even met. So we were on stage all together. But at the end of the evening, I went backstage to say goodnight to the OJs. And he was sitting in the outer dressing room door by himself. And I walked in and we started talking. And when I tell you, 4th of July fireworks, everything.
Wow.
He was the most handsome man. He was sweet and he was very kind. And we just connected. We had an immediate bond.
What was the age difference?
Well, he just was a super humble guy, given the level of success that he had.
Right.
Right. 1975.
Right. So he's the hottest writer, songwriter, producer.
He is the hottest songwriter, producer, Philadelphia International. He had big hits with The Intruders, Jerry Butler, Wilson Pickett, Dusty Springfield. He wrote I'm Gonna Make You Love Me. The Temptations and the Supremes did that one. He produced Laura Nyro, LaBelle. He had a string of hits by the time I met him. And then, of course, the OJs, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, Billy Paul, all of that. So, yeah, we met. We had an immediate connection. And I used to run into him at music conventions, NATRA. But we always gravitated, and I wound up sitting with him. So for a year, we were friends.
Right.
But at the end of that year, just about when I was getting ready to go to BLS, when Frankie Crocker made the firm offer.
Oh.
And again, I'm still 20 at this point.
Right. You're not legal yet.
It wasn't even legal. Shame on Kenny Gamble. He's 10 years older than me. 10 years older than me. Old man. Dirty old man. Yeah. He even wrote a song called Dirty Old Man for the 3 Degrees, now that I think about it. But we connected at that point. He was at the point, he was in a marriage and coming out of the marriage. Right. So he said to me, would you be willing to wait while I go to this? Because he liked me. And all my girlfriends knew that I had a crush on him. I never said anything to him because we were friends. And I'm not that girl. A man has to make the first move with me. Once you make the move, I know, and I'm feeling you, then let's go.
Right.
It was a whole year of friendship and communications. And I'd even gone to Philadelphia. Jean Carn, who was a girlfriend of mine, signed her deal. And she knew I had a crush on him. So when she did her deal, she invited me to go to Philadelphia with her. And that was my first time visiting Philly International. But again, Mom was the word. I was just like, hi, Gamble, how are you? You know, bubbly, effervescent.
Yeah.
Schoolgirl. It's like a schoolgirl crush.
Yeah.
You know, grown woman's crush, because then I turned 21.
Then you turned 21.
He left his wife, you know, and you know, we started moving forward with our lives. So yeah, that's the love affair. And you know, he remains, we haven't been together in many, many years, but he remains the head of my family, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
We have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, Khalif Saladin and Princess Idea. He is the head of my family. He and my mother are still very close. She considers him still her son-in-law. I have the highest level of regard, respect for him. And in addition to producing a family, we created June Black Music Month. It's like it's our 4th child.
Right.
And June 1st, this recently, our son, Khalif, was talking to me, and I guess his father called. So he conferenced his father in, and Gamble and I were like, Happy Black Music Month. Happy Black Music Month. And then Gamble was like, it's spreading, it's all over the place, it's everywhere. And I was like, yes, Gamble. And we're proud of that. We're proud that we established a period of time for people to focus more on the contributions of people past, this generation, and the generations to come. 42 years, this is the 42nd.
Wow.
Black Music Month, so yes.
Yeah.
I still love Kenny Gamble, love him, respect. He's married. He's been married for a long time to his current wife, Fatima. But I have great love and respect for that man. He is one of my most admired human beings on planet Earth.
Yeah. And, you know, Dee, that's what it should be, I think. Just because relationships break up, particularly if you have children, you have to remember the love that was there, you know, and respect that, because we go through seasons in our lives. And you know, even though we may grow apart or things may happen, you can still have love and respect for people. And that's the thing I pray that we get back to as men and women, particularly Black and brown men and women. We've got to learn how to continue and keep the love and appreciation and respect for each other.
And that's what he and I have. And it was, you know, initially when we broke up, it was challenging because we were breaking up our family.
Yeah.
But actually what we did was we cemented our friendship further and our commitment to our family and the initial friendship that has outlasted the Eros romantic part of our relationship. But I thought it was funny because I saw a picture of him the other day when he was young, when I first met him.
Right.
And I looked at the picture and I was like, you were fine. You know, and I had that moment of looking at him smiling. But when I look at him now, I see our kids, I see our children. Our oldest child, Khalif, it looks like I had nothing to do with it. If I hadn't been there, okay, and then we had not done, you know, DNA testing and all that stuff, which we've done with our family. Okay, because that boy looked just like his daddy. Looked like I had nothing to do with it. The other two looked like a good, healthy mix of both of us, but yeah.
Well, it's funny. One time when I saw you on the Joyner cruise, you were kind of asking me and you said, well, I have a son. I was like, okay, nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think we were docking somewhere and we were getting ready to walk off the boat to go wherever, and we were conversing, and you were telling me about your son. So
yeah, it's kind of matchmaking, making.
Yes, you were matchmaking.
Yeah,
I missed that one too.
It's all right, girl. But I would have enjoyed having you as a daughter-in-law.
Thank you so much. We are talking to music and industry icon Dyana Williams. She is the mother of Black Music Month, and she's been telling us about her romance with her co-creator, Kenny Gamble, the legendary Kenny Gamble. So Dee, so he came to you. Why? What was the reason why Gamble thought that it should be a Black Music Month? What did he say to you?
Yes, he had gone to Nashville, Tennessee, and observed what the Country Music Association was doing in Nashville. They actually took a whole city and turned it into a very profitable location region based on country music. So how clever. So he came back to Philly and said, we need to establish a similar type of entity.
Right.
And when he created the Black Music Association with some other notable individuals. And his thing was economics. We had a campaign in the Black Music Association at one point that said, Black music is green. And this, we're talking the 70s now, because even then, Gamble recognized what we should all recognize is that Black music is a multi-billion-dollar business.
Oh, it is.
Good. We fall in love to it. We break up to it. We party, family gatherings, celebrations, everything. There's Black music for every occasion. And we consume copious amounts of Black music, whether we recognize it or not, from the moment we wake up till we go to sleep. TV commercials, selling us soap, detergent, cereal, you name it, insurance. Black music is at the core of Madison Avenue, using this music to engage people in product purchasing.
All people, not just Black and brown people.
Everybody, every single body. But that was the inspiration. He had gone to Nashville, came back and said, we need to do this for the Black music business. And that was the birth of the Black Music Association, which no longer is in existence. But from it came June Black Music Month. And again, his idea, because the Country Music Association, I want to say October, I'm not sure, they had a month. And he was like, well, we should have a month.
Right. They got a month. We should have a month.
Yeah. And of course, we had Black History Month, but 28 days. Right. Anyway, and a lot of people are like, why do we need a Black Music Month? What's the point? What's the purpose? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's an opportunity for us in a concentrated period of time to celebrate the songwriters, producers, the radio personalities, the hosts, the record executives, the managers, the retailers, the consumers. And that's everybody. You have a pulse, a heartbeat. Black music is for you. It is us, for all of us, not just for the consumption of Black people. So that's what happened with Black Music Month. And that is not to say that we do not continue to celebrate Black music beyond June.
Absolutely.
Every day should be a celebration and a recognition. But this is that concentrated month to read books to your grandchildren about your favorite musicians, to buy the merch or the music, live performances. Now with COVID dying down, with people getting vaccinated, we can go out and hear live music again. We can go out and support musicians at concerts and clubs and different venues. So that's what we do during June Black Music Month. We visit the National Museum of African American Music, and I know we're going to talk about that.
Right, yes. Yeah. So what is the process of making a day, a month, a law? Because I know there was a little controversy, a little something about Jimmy Carter, but then it actually ended up with President Clinton. What happened there?
Great question. So 1979, June 7th, was the first June Black Music Month celebration on the lawn of the White House, the South Lawn. And it was hosted by President Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind. And Clarence Avant, the godfather, was involved in asking the Carter administration to host this event for over 200 members of the music industry and the Black Music Association. So President Jimmy Carter, we have video of it, actually, we have film where he gets up and he says, June is Black Music Month. But unfortunately, what the president did not do, he didn't sign a proclamation.
He just said it.
He said it. We hosted this big, it was the inaugural Black Music Month event a year after the BMA was established. But the BMA and the Black music industry continue to celebrate it, record companies, artists, what have you. And as the years went on, I established the International Association of African American Music Foundation, and we were doing music conferences during June Music Month, the first week of June. So I wrote President Clinton and asked him to host a similar reception as Jimmy Carter had done. And the White House came back and said, we've gone into the archives back to 79, and we do see and hear where the president said June is Black Music Month. But because he didn't do the proclamation, from our position, we're not issuing proclamations. We're not doing that unless you go to Congress and get legislation.
Wow.
Get it done there, and then come back to us, and we'll open the doors. We'll have you meet the president, all of that. It took me a couple of years of lobbying. I'm a girl from the Bronx and Harlem. I don't know anything about lobbying, but I love it. I'm passionate about Black culture, people, and music. So knocking on people's doors, I became a letter writing something. I enlisted the support of a Republican senator, Arlen Specter from Pennsylvania, who wrote the president on my behalf to get June Black Music Month, and also Congressman Shaka Fatah from Philadelphia. So through Shaka actually introduced the legislation. I found an email the other day when it went through, and it was like 386-0. It was unanimous in the House of Representatives. And so that was enough for me then to go back to the White House and say, okay, I did what you asked me to. I got the legislation. I even wrote the legislation. Congressman Fatah's office put the whereas and put it in form, but I wrote the language. And then the White House said, come on through. And I was invited to a private meeting in the Oval Office with President Bill I started to say Bill Carter. Bill Clinton. Yeah. Bill Clinton. That was a very heady moment for me, like a young Black woman, to be able to do something like that. It's actually one of the significant things I've done in my life. Not something that I was prepared for, but I then later realized I was a lobbyist.
Right. Yes.
And for Black culture.
You are an archaeologist.
I was an archaeologist.
You were an
Archaeologist,
archaeologist,
yes.
Because you were digging. You had to dig and find and search.
It did. And again, the passion is what drove me, the desire to see this happen, to get Black music respect that it deserves. And also, remind people it's not just beautiful music that you can tap your toes and your head and snap your fingers and dance to. It is a big business. It's one of America's greatest exports around the planet and to the galaxies.
Yes.
The music is bouncing off in all over. Who knows where it is? Okay. I could just see, look, Sun Ra, George Clinton, the mother.
Oh, girl, yes. Yes.
Well, that's the story.
That is part one of the interview with Dyana Williams. She is the mother of Black Music Month. And listen, isn't that an amazing story? I knew the story, and she and I have spoken several times about it, but I cannot tell you how I feel about the opportunity to have a platform where I could feature someone like Dee, who doesn't get the shine that she deserves. Mr. Peace Joy Jen said she just saw Dee on the Black Music Month celebration. And usually you see her in June, but you don't see her other times. And she has made such an impact on Black music, on Black musicians, and so many others. So next week, part two of the interview with the mother of Black Music Month, Dyana Williams. Hey, coming up next week on Coping with COVID on a Wellness Wednesday, we will talk about HIV awareness and also autism. On Thursday, we'll talk to the folks at the Comet bus system, and they'll tell us about some updates they have. We're so glad that they have decided to sponsor Coping with COVID. And also, we're going to continue our Black Music Month special with part two of the interview with Dee. And also, we'll talk to some DJs that actually play the music. Some people that you know and some people that you may not know. That's coming up next week on Coping with COVID. I'm Tre Tailor, and we appreciate so much. Thank you, Mitchell P. Sturgeon. It's a fantastic interview. Thank you so much for watching. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please go to the Tailor Made production page on Facebook and inbox me. I would love to feature you on Coping with COVID. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, please email copingwith@tretailor@gmail.com. There's information right there. And we would love for you to be a proud sponsor of Coping with COVID, just like SCDHEC, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, also the Comet Bus System, as I said, Palmetto Painting Services, Agape Counseling and Christian Center, Counseling Center, Palmetto Media Connections, and also Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, and Javis Tax Services. As always, I leave you with a reading from Jesus Calling. It's June 18th, and Jesus says, "You are my beloved child. I chose you before the foundation of the world to walk with me along the paths designed uniquely for you. Concentrate on keeping in step with me instead of trying to anticipate my moves for you. If you trust that my plans are to prosper you and not to harm you, if you trust me, you can relax and enjoy the present moment." Man, that's good right there. Your hope and your future are rooted in heaven, Jesus says, where eternal ecstasy awaits you. Nothing can rob you of your inheritance of unimaginable riches and well-being. Sometimes I grant you glimpses of your glorious future to encourage you and to spur you on. But your main focus should be staying close to me. I set the pace in keeping with your needs and my purposes. That's your Jesus Calling for today. It is Friday, June 18th. I want to remind you about the big Juneteenth festival tomorrow. Please stop by there. They're also having one at Adventure Children's Museum. So if you have a child, come on out to Adventure. I'm going to take my babies out. The Auntie Karen Foundation is going to have Gordon there. He's going to have a smoothie. So do that too. Whatever you do, wherever you go, enjoy. Take care. God bless you. Be safe. Shout out to our producer, Charity Mealing, who is a little bit under the weather today. God's healing power to Charity, and peace and blessings so much to you. Until the next time, I do wish you peace and abundant blessings. Stay safe, be careful, get your vaccine, and don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. We'll see you soon.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor. Updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. Brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for testing and vaccination sites. SCDHEC. Healthy people, healthy communities. In it together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every week on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Agape Counseling and Training Services. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, offering free rides to get your COVID vaccine. Don't miss your shot. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Financial Services, with over 20 years of experience. Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Honest, professional, reliable computer sales and service. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In it together, SC, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Javis Financial Services, Computers Unique, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.